I'm going to link this image in the description below in case you want to download it and follow along with me. It's a great way of learning, but we're starting out with this image right here, and we're going to end up with this image right here, like an old time photograph. And it's a lot of fun to do. I'm going to show you every step along the way. We're going to work with some looks inside of Topaz Studio 2. We're going to work with some other texture filters and some precision contrast, a bunch of different things. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to show you everything I did so you'll be able to duplicate these results. And without any further ado, let's get started. I'm starting out today inside of Photoshop, but you could just as easily start out in Topaz Studio 2 because I'm not really doing anything to it inside of Photoshop. I went ahead and duplicated my background layer and called it Topaz Studio 2, and now we'll launch Topaz Studio 2. When I started out today, I wasn't sure in what direction to take this image, so I thought, let's go to looks. Let's go up to add look, and let's see if we can find something that we like. So I thought, first off, let's look at some texture. So I went to sort by. I kept the look category to all, and I went to sort by all, or not all, but actually went to sort by texture to break it down into just textures only. And I started going through these, and I clicked on the first one, 1950s print, and I thought, oh, that looks cool. This might look nice as an old style photograph. It kind of has that feel to it when I saw that texture on it. So I kept going down through and clicking through some of these different texture looks. And there's some really great texture looks in here. And here's one called Beach Dreams. Here's one called Bluesy Trees. And that's kind of fun. And I kept going and going and going, and I finally found one because there's a ton of these in here that comes preloaded with Topaz Studio 2. But I found one called M1 Sepia Textured. So here's a quick way of getting to it. See this little magnifying glass here? Just click here and type in that name. So let's type in M1 Sepia. M1 Sepia Textured. Okay, and here it is right here, the first one right here. So I'll click on this one. Now we'll just wait a few seconds for it to go ahead and render itself onto the image. There's a lot of different filters that are applied to this one particular look here. Let's go ahead and click apply. I'll accept it at full strength, and we'll take a look at the filters. So we can see it's using, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different filters here. There's 2 textures, color overlay, black and white filter, and an AI clear. Let's just uncheck them one at a time just to see what they're doing. So let's go to the first texture here. This is without the texture. Okay, let's turn it back on. I do like that one. Let's go to the next one. Shut it off. Okay, that's without it, and that's with it. And I like it. And we can go there and alter these filters if we want to. The next one's a color overlay, and I assume this one's giving us that tint. Yeah, so we're getting that nice warm tint with this particular overlay. So I'm going to turn that back on because I think that looks really good with this. And here's the black and white filter, which is just making the black and white conversion. Now, if we wanted to leave color in this image, we could go ahead and just shut off the black and white or delete this filter altogether if we wanted to. But I think I'm going to keep it black and white. But that looks pretty cool. There's a little bit of color in there. So, man, I'm tempted to keep that color in there. But I'm going to go ahead and keep it as a black and white. And then this is an AI clear. This is just probably adding a little bit of sharpening and noise reduction. This one's not really doing much here for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and click the delete on that one and get rid of that particular filter. I don't think we need it. Now remember, these looks are starting points. So let's click on the first texture filter here, and you'll see that it's using this particular texture called Splotched Fade. And then we can come here and we can alter things. And you'll notice it's in the overlay blend mode. And the opacity is at 30. So if we wanted to add more, we could take this opacity and drag it to the right. So we can let that filter be a little bit stronger in there. And I might just do that. I might make it a little bit stronger. It was at a 30. I don't want to go too strong with it, but maybe like around a 41. Then we can hover through these blend modes and see if there's one we like better. Like there's Multiply, which I think Multiply looks really nice on here. And here's Color Burn. Yeah, I don't like that one. It was on Overlay, and that's the overlay. Here's Soft Light. It's a little less pronounced, but really nice too. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with the overlay. I think that's good. And of course, we can go into the textures here and change the texture if we wanted to, but I'm happy with it. And then, of course, we can alter any of these other adjustments here if we wanted to, like the brightness and contrast and detail and things like that. But I'm happy with everything the way it looks. Let's take a look at the next texture. And we can see this one's using this texture called semolina. Again, let's play with the opacity. We can give it some more. Okay, and I might just give it a little bit more. Now we can see that this is in the soft light blend mode. Let's hover through some of these others. There's the overlay. I think I do like the soft, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave it in the soft light blend mode. But play with these things, because that's how you learn and that's how you find the look that you really want by experimenting. Then you can experiment again with all these other adjustments. So here's one that I like to play with a lot, and that's detail. So I can take the detail and move it to the right and bring more of that detail out. See, so that looks kind of cool in there. And I might just give it a little extra detail on this one because it defaults at 0. And that's where they had it, I believe. So I'm just going to give it a little extra detail. And I think, not much, but right around there. And now we have the color overlay. And I'm happy with the overlay. But you could come here and you could change the color overlay to a different color if you wanted to. But I'm going to leave it just the way it is. I like it. And of course, the black and white conversion, I think, is fine. But you could even come in here, and you can see where the settings are here. But you can come in here and alter like the red. So right now it's at a 2. So remember that number. I can change it and see if we get any different effect there. Yeah, see the fur here, or the fur, I guess you would call it. And it was at a 2, so I can lighten it up if I wanted to by moving that to the right, or darken it down by moving it to the left. And I might just darken it down a little bit more, but you can come in here and play with all these different adjustments. But I think everything looks good, and I'm happy with this look. So let's go ahead and move on and see what other filters we can add. I really like the softness of this image, but I'm thinking I'd like to bring out a little bit of contrast, some extra detail in this animal in the foreground, which I think is an ibex. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've been known to be wrong many times on these kind of things. So let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking I want a little bit of contrast, and to do that, I want to add a filter called Precision Contrast. I love this filter. We're going to start out with a micro. Let's start to bump it up to the right. Now, we're only going to be looking at the actual animal, the ibex, if that's what it is. And so let's go ahead and pull up the micro, and I'm thinking maybe right around here. That looks really nice, and I like the way the horns look. And let's go to the low contrast, lower areas of contrast, and start to bump it up. And I think maybe right around there. And let's try medium. Move it to the right, build up that medium contrast. And I think right about there, 39 is looking good. And then we could play with the high if we wanted to. Add some high contrast. And maybe just a little bit, maybe right around there. Now I'm going to just mask it on the animal. To do that, come up to the precision contrast layer and click on this little icon for layer mask. That adds a layer mask. Now what I want to do is invert the layer mask. So see the 3 dots here? Click this and click invert. Now that takes it off of everything, puts a black hide all layer mask on it. And now we want to get a brush tool, and we want our brush tool to be painting with white paint. So take this transparency slider, slide the whole way to the right, and it'll say 1 right here. And now we can adjust our radius here. I'm going to make my radius small because I'm going to start on the horns here. Make my radius rather small and pull my softness not quite as soft. I'm moving it to the left, and now I'll make my radius a little smaller. And let's just come here and let's paint it on the horns first. I'm doing this kind of fast, so I'll be a little sloppy here, so please forgive me if it's not a perfectly 100% accurate masking job. But yeah, it looks good. Now I'm going to make my brush a little bit larger, and I'll just paint it on the fur areas here of the animal, on its head as well. I'm going to make my brush a little smaller and get the areas I missed. Now if I miss some areas on here, that's because I'm doing a tutorial and I got to kind of go on the fast side here. But normally I would take my time and take it slow and get it 100% perfect. But this is a tutorial and I got to go a little bit on the faster side here. There we go. Okay. And see how nice that looks? It just kind of pulls out the animal from the rest of the image here. Now I think I need to bring a little bit of detail out on the foreground as well. And to do that, let's just take this transparency slider and let's move it back to the left. More of a gray tone right here. That'll give us less of the detail showing through. Let's make our radius a little bit larger, and I'll just go ahead and paint in this foreground grass area right here. Again, I'm going kind of fast. Let's get this painted in here. Got to make some little noises to get this painted in here right. Okay, so there you go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the before. So here's the before, and here's the after. I like that. I think the precision detail really helped. Now, there's also some other controls inside of the precision detail. You have this lighting section here. And I think I might try opening up the shadows a little bit. Let's start to drag this to the right. That'll just open up the shadows a little. And I might just do that. I might just open up those shadows just a little bit, right around a 52. Again, here's a before, and here's an after. To me, this image is crying out for a border around it. So let's come up to add filter. Let's grab another texture filter. And I know the border I want to use. So let's click on this magnifying glass. And we can search here, and it's called Border Fade 1. Okay, and it's this one right here. Now when I click on it, it makes my image look light, and I don't want that. But you'll notice here it's in the normal blend mode. I need to change that blend mode to multiply. And when I do, see how much nicer that looks. So blend modes are very important when you're working with textures. I can't stress that enough. And then we can play with the opacity. Let's see, do we want it to be stronger? Like that's full strength at 100. That's too strong, I think. So let me pull it back. And I think I'll pull it back to, I don't know, maybe somewhere. Let's try an 80. I think that looks really good. The only other adjustment I want to do to this filter is just maybe pull back the detail on this edge here a little bit here. See, it's not bad, but it's a little too strong for me. So I'm just going to take the detail and move it to the left a little bit, and just see how when I keep moving to the left, it gets less and less detailed. So I want some detail in there, but I think maybe right around a 32 looks really good. I like that. Let's go ahead and look at the before and after. So I'm just going to click the eye right here. Here's the before, and here's the after. Well, we are going for that old photograph look, and it does look old, but what old photograph doesn't look good without a little bit of scratches? So let's go ahead and add another filter. Let's add another texture filter, and let's find a filter with some scratches on it. Now remember, you have these groups and categories, so let's go to group, and let's go to the dust and scratches group. And there was one in particular that I was looking for, and it was called Scratches 30. See if I can find it right here. This guy right here. I thought it looks really nice. Now that looks a little bit over the top there, and it's way too strong. But what I'm going to do is also change its blend mode to screen, because whenever you have a lot of black and you change to screen blend mode, that black will drop away and you'll just see the scratches. Isn't that cool? But I don't like the way the scratches are going here, so what I want to do is flip them vertically. Like so. I think that looks better. And now what I want to do is take my opacity. I definitely want to pull that opacity back a good bit here. So we're in that screen blend mode. And I'm thinking maybe right around here. So here's the before the scratches, and here's after the scratches. So I like it. It adds to this old photograph look. And if we're happy with everything, all we need to do is come up to the menu here and click accept, and that sends us right back into Photoshop. And here we are back in Photoshop. So let's shut off this Topaz Studio 2 layer. Let's just click this eyeball. We started out with this image, and we ended up with this image. So I'm really happy with the results. I love this old photo look that we were able to achieve today using Topaz Studio 2. Now, if I'm done with my image here in Photoshop, I can just come over here to this layer right here, Topaz Studio 2, right-click it. And what I would do, I would just flatten it to save storage space on my hard drive. And then I would come up to File and choose Save. And I could save it as a JPEG or a TIFF, whatever I wanted to save it as. If we would have opened this up in Topaz Studio 2, we could have saved it out as a project and kept all the layers intact if we wanted to come back and work on it later. Or we could have just exported it as a TIFF or a JPEG or whatever we wanted. Well, there it is, an old style photograph using Topaz Studio 2, our creative toolbox, to get us the desired results. And I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. Hey, if you enjoyed this tutorial today, please give it a like and share it with your friends. If you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe and click that bell notification icon. Then every time I upload a new tutorial, you will be notified about it.